The crystalline spires of Valestra Prime had once gleamed with the promise of eternal prosperity. Now they stood as monuments to betrayal. Princess Leora lay crumpled against the cold metallic wall of the abandoned transit station, her violet skin bearing the bruises of exile. Her crown, once adorned with 7 stellar gems representing the 7 systems, had been stripped away by her own brother's guard. The coup had been swift, merciless, and absolute. She had fled through the underground passages, her ceremonial robes torn and stained with the azure dust of her dying world. The rebels wanted her dead, a symbolic end to the old dynasty. Her survival meant hope for loyalists, and hope was something the new regime could not afford to leave alive. Leora's breathing grew shallow as the station's life support systems flickered. This outpost had been abandoned for cycles, left to decay on the edge of human-controlled space. The irony wasn't lost on her. Her people had always considered humans to be barbaric newcomers to the galactic stage, a species too young and too reckless to be taken seriously. Now she would likely die on the border of their territory, alone and forgotten. The sound of boots on metal made her flinch. She pressed herself further into the shadows, her bioluminescent markings dimming instinctively. If the assassins had found her, she had no strength left to run. But the figure that emerged from the corridor wasn't a Valestron hunter. It was a human soldier, broad-shouldered and cautious, his rifle held ready. His armor bore the insignia of the Terran Expeditionary Corps. Behind him trotted a creature she had only seen in human data files. A dog, they called it. The animal was large, with golden fur and intelligent brown eyes that swept the area with surprising alertness. "Clear," the human muttered into his comm device. "Station's been picked clean. No signs of—" He stopped mid-sentence as the dog suddenly pulled toward Leora's hiding spot, a low whine emanating from its throat. "Easy, Rex," the soldier said, following the dog's gaze. His eyes widened when he spotted her. "Control, we have a civilian, alien, looks injured." Leora tried to speak, to demand dignity even in her defeat, but only a rasping cough emerged. The human approached slowly, his weapon lowered but not holstered. The dog reached her first, sniffing cautiously before sitting beside her with a gentle whimper. "Easy there," the soldier said, kneeling down. His voice was surprisingly soft for someone of his size. "I'm Sergeant Cole. You're in bad shape. What happened?" She managed to meet his eyes. "Forsaken," she whispered in broken Standard Galactic. "My people cast me out." Cole's expression hardened. He'd seen enough in his years of service to recognize a political purge when he saw one. He tapped his comm again. "Control, civilian is injured and possibly pursued. Requesting immediate evac and medical support," a crackling voice responded. "Negative, Sergeant. Station is outside authorized patrol zone. Return to base. Sir, she'll die if—" "That's an order, Cole. We don't have authorization for alien rescue operations, especially not Valestron royalty. You know the diplomatic situation?" Cole looked at Leora, then at Rex, who had laid his head gently on the princess's lap, his tail wagging slowly. The dog had always been a better judge of character than most humans Cole knew. "Understood, Control. Cole out." He switched off his comm and slung his rifle over his shoulder. "Well, Your Highness, looks like we're going off book today." Leora's eyes widened. "You disobey orders for me?" "Not for you," Cole said, carefully lifting her into his arms. She was surprisingly light, for what's right. "Rex here seems to think you're worth saving, and I've learned to trust his judgment over bureaucrats any day." Rex barked his approval and trotted ahead, leading the way through the station's corridors. The dog's senses were invaluable, alerting them to unstable floor panels and residual radiation pockets that Cole's basic scanner might have missed. As they moved through the darkness, Leora felt something she hadn't experienced since the coup: hope. This human, this supposedly barbaric creature from a species her people had dismissed, was risking his career, perhaps his life, to save her. And the animal, this loyal companion that showed more compassion than her own flesh and blood, kept looking back to ensure she was still breathing. "Why?" she finally asked. "Your superiors. You will face consequences." Cole chuckled grimly. "Probably. But that's the thing about humans, Princess. We don't always do what makes sense. We do what feels right. My grandpa used to say that civilization isn't about following rules. It's about knowing when to break them." Rex barked twice, his alert signal. Cole immediately ducked into a side corridor as voices echoed through the station, Valestron hunters speaking in rapid, clicking tones. They were searching for her. Stay quiet, Cole whispered, drawing his sidearm. Rex, guard. The dog positioned himself between Leora and the corridor entrance, his hackles raised but silent. The princess watched in amazement as the human and his animal companion worked in perfect synchronization, communicating through nothing but gestures and trust. The hunters passed within meters of their position, but Rex remained perfectly still, and Cole's breathing was controlled and calm. Only when the voices faded did they move again. Your bond, Leora said softly. With the creature, I have never seen such loyalty. Rex isn't just a creature, Cole said. He's family. He saved my life more times than I can count, not because he was programmed to, or because he feared punishment. Because he chose to. They reached Cole's dropship hidden in a crater outside the station. As he secured Leora in the medical bay and Rex settled beside her keeping watch, the princess felt tears forming in her eyes, the first she had allowed since her exile. Thank you, she whispered. Both of you. Cole fired up the engines knowing that this decision would change everything. His career was likely over. There would be courts-martial, diplomatic incidents, possibly even war crimes charges. But as he looked back at Rex, who had finally relaxed his guard to let the princess stroke his fur, Cole smiled. Humanity had entered the galactic stage as outsiders, viewed with suspicion and derision. But perhaps that was their strength. Unburdened by ancient prejudices and cosmic politics, humans still believed in simple truths, that every life had value, that loyalty transcended species, and that sometimes the most civilized thing you could do was to be a little bit barbaric. Princess Leora had been forsaken by her own kind, but she had been found by a human and his dog, and in that moment, she began to understand why the galaxy would never be the same again. As the dropship launched into the stars, Rex's tail thumped against the deck, a simple, universal language that said everything. You're safe now. Your pack. And for the first time in cycles, Leora believed in tomorrow.